All right, man. I'm ready whenever you are.
All right. I mean, like I said, I don't have an official intro. I don't even
You,
have a name. I haven't thought of
you,
anything yet.
you, you just like, I just know if I put someone in front of a camera, I'll make magic.
I was like, let's just do this. And this will be like one day when we're great, I'll be like, here's the first episode. You should watch how bad it was.
I don't know, man. Like, so I was reading an article about the Korean Baseball League, and because I don't know if you've seen their stuff, they're playing full,
Yeah.
like having their full season, just empty stadiums. And supposedly they're just bleeding money. Like they're worried they're not going to have another Korean baseball league. Like
Wow.
the current one's going to just fold due to lack of funds.
Well, that's what happened with the XFL, right? Like it's pretty much dead again.
Well, I mean, yeah, because the XFL was doing really good. I'm wearing my Roughnecks jersey right now.
Yeah.
And then of course COVID happened, which completely stopped everything. Supposedly McMahon had enough money put back to float 2 seasons.
See, that's what I had heard. But I also heard that because they're not playing the rest of this year, that it was like, yeah, let's nix that.
Well, what I also think is McMahon probably embellished a little bit about how much money he actually had. I mean, but I'm sure part of that money had to have been with like sponsors,
Oh
like
yeah,
Coke
yeah.
deals and stuff like that. So when the league not folded but was put on hold, like a lot of these sponsors pulled out because they're like, well, why are we giving you money for a product that's not on the field,
Yeah.
And so ultimately that's what killed the XFL. But now there's potential buyers.
So it
And
might come
another
back.
report mentioned that if the XFL comes back in a third iteration, it will most likely be before the Major League Baseball, but also that the Roughnecks will still have a team in Houston, apparently.
Okay. Is it gonna, so it wouldn't be the same team? Like they're gonna have to redo everything again?
I don't know, man.
I'd imagine if they call those guys and say, "Hey, we're back," a few of them would be like, "All right, we're on our way."
I'm sure there's some guys because they obviously don't have another choice in the XFL.
Yeah.
But like guys like PJ Walker, who's the quarterback for the Roughnecks, who did great. There's some other quarterbacks, I think, was it Arizona? I can't remember what the other team was. So, I mean, there were some players in the league that were getting NFL calls who, if they were to get a call from whoever owns the XFL now, might be like, nah, bro, I'm good.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think wasn't that the point of the XFL? And maybe not the point of the XFL, but I bet a bunch of those guys went in playing like, "Hey, this is my shot at getting to the NFL."
So, yeah, I would think so in a way. Like, I mean, playing professional football is playing professional football with the ultimate goal getting to the NFL. Although the XFL never really said that's what they were trying to do. Unlike the AAF, which,
yeah.
I mean, that was their whole thing. Hell, to keep from folding, they were trying to become like a Division II league for the NFL.
Be like the NBA G League.
Yeah,
like
something like
NFL's
that.
version.
Which I would have loved to have seen happen, but of course, the NFL has different ideas, and in a way, they care about the safety of their players for their product. Like
Yeah.
so I don't know, it's crazy, but like the XFL to me was never like the AAF. It was never trying to be like the NFL's ugly sister, who's crazy.
What?
I will say, because did you ever go to any of the games?
No.
Yeah, I went to their Roughnecks home opener and then another game after that. I would argue, and maybe it's because it was the Roughnecks. The Roughnecks were arguably the best team in the XFL. It was a solid product, though. It was an entertaining game. It didn't feel like it lasted too long. The breaks, if you'll call them, never were like the NFL. I remember going to a Texans-Titans game, and it felt like every play they would stop for like 2 minutes. Like it was ridiculous. Where the XFL, man, I think I waited in line to get a jersey, and that was like at the end of the first quarter, and I didn't get back until the start of the third quarter. So either that line was ridiculous, or they're moving. That clock is ticking. There's a lot of cool rule changes.
Right, they don't really stop the clock too much, right? It's basically a running clock.
Yeah, it's pretty much a
or
running
at some
clock, I
point.
think, until the last 2 minutes. And then that's when it slows down again. But I mean, they just did a lot of things that I liked, and I would love to see for the XFL or the NFL to do and implement. Mainly the kickoffs, the punts. They seem a bit safer and allow for a little bit more action.
I mean, I don't know any XFL. I guess no one. That's what it's a show with experts that aren't really experts. Is kind of what I want. So you're my XFL expert. Anyway.
This is the sports show with non-experts.
Pretty much. I was like trying to think of names. Oh, sporting with my friends. Then I was like idiots talking about sports. I'll work that one. That's a
sport and knowledge.
But yeah, we're good. Sports are good, and good will be GUD.
Good at sports.
Yeah. I guess if we'll swing it to MLB, my big question is, or for a minute, I didn't think it was going to happen, but I read today Rob Manfred has the ultimate veto power, I guess, and he can make a 48-game season if they run out of time. Because the big question was like, do you think there will be a season?
Yeah, it sucks because when they're fighting back and forth like this, no one wins, Ultimately, the players, I mean, they're fighting for money. So are the owners for themselves, which it sucks when you have this type of system, with the players union, with the owners. And I mean, ultimately, if the fans aren't into the product and the fans aren't putting money forward, it kills the beast in a way.
Yeah.
It really sucks. But like you said, I think because they just rejected the players union just rejected this latest offer.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I think he has until the 26th of this month where he can ultimately, if they don't come up with a better plan, and I don't know if that date's correct, but he can veto it and he can put whatever number of games he wants, and they just got to deal with it now. It's the act of not doing anything is going to force something to happen.
Yeah.
And sources that I've seen online say he's looking at a number that starts with a 5. So probably 50 games, which is, I think, what he wanted in the first place anyway. So, I mean, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. I saw a range today that was 48 to 54 games. So 50 is right there in the middle. But, I mean, even the MLBPA today or yesterday, they were like, just tell us when and where. Like, hey, we're tired of going back and forth. Our numbers aren't getting any – I mean, they're getting closer, but they're not really close at all.
Yeah, and like I said, it just sucks because at one point, baseball had the chance to be the first U.S. sport back. Like, at one point, they were looking at a July 4th opening. And, I mean, what better world could that be on July 4th? Everyone's off. Baseball's back. And
that would have been perfect.
Yeah, you look like a hero. And now, I mean, as an Astros fan, I love it because the hate's not on us anymore. But
coronavirus came and everyone forgot about 2017 quick. I was like,
yeah, for that. But like at the same time, man, as a baseball fan, like you hate to see all this crap, like, and it's not just the majors that are effective. You have your minor league teams that are suffering, and those guys who make jack crap, what are they?
If I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere that they're on like a $400 stipend for the remainder of the season, $400 a week. I mean, it's not a lot of money, but it's better than zero money or no dollars.
I mean, if they're all like sharing like, 2-bedroom apartments with 6 of them living in each one, yeah, they're doing pretty damn good. But I mean, $1,600 a month sucks, especially like if you're living out in California, like, so that $400 a week works differently. Like it's crazy. And this is probably a crazy conversation to get into, but like unions can sometimes really destroy what they're out to protect, and I don't know, it's just some crazy stuff. And I think baseball will survive this, but I don't know what we're going to see. It's just really interesting to kind of see this all play out. And now you see other sports getting it together, like NBA and MLS. They're just going to Disney, which I think is the great thing. I wish baseball would do that. Like, Let's
Well,
just
they
take.
had that big sports park, right? That wide world of sports, baseball. Or
Yes.
everyone goes to Kissimmee anyway for spring training, pretty much.
Exactly. Like, so baseball's already there. You have all your spring facilities there. But like you said, the wide world of sport, it is brought by ESPN, which owned by Disney. And so you have a way to televise the games all there. You put all your teams in one nice little safe bubble away from everyone. They can blow off steam by going to the parks, like open it up for them to have fun.
Yeah. You see, there's just a bunch of MLB players riding rides, and
I would love the photos that would get like, God, could you imagine social media? Just everyone loving everything. I want to see this year's Hard Knocks.
It would be starting right now. Yes, because all the NFL teams are going to go to camp pretty soon, right?
Yeah,
so
and they should go to Disney too.
All right, everyone, we're going to Disney.
I just think
if
that's
you're a professional athlete, meet at Disney.
That's what it should be, man. They have everything there. I know me and my family, we've gone a few times. We've got to see like soccer matches there with the international youth teams came there. It was a big old tournament. They have the complex to do it, to host all this crap.
And I mean, Florida opened up pretty quick. So
yeah, you can tell by their numbers.
They were doing UFC. Yeah. They were doing UFC real early. But to be fair, there's a lot of older people in Florida too.
Yeah, like if anyone's going to really suffer from this, it's Florida. But I need my football, you know?
You're like, we got to get the country back to – we got to run. You went there to die anyway. I might edit that part out. If you were a Marvel character, what would your power be?
It's easy. Speed.
I don't know what mine would be. Teleportation. I think that would be a pretty cool power because then you could, like, sleep in your bed every night and work wherever you wanted. Also, traffic's not a thing.
Here's the terrifying thing, though. If you teleport to a place, but you teleport inside of something, that's terrifying. That's why I want, like, something, a power that, you know, I have full control over. Like, just run real fast. Like, that's fine. Like,
I guess now that I'm thinking about it, speed and teleportation are essentially not the same thing, but the same idea.
Kind of, you know. All right. Let's move on. I mean, I could sit here and talk superheroes all day, but.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say, that's basically my notes that I showed you at the beginning. We're done with it. Like how the original offer was 82 games for 33% of the salary.
But when was that offer? So, like, the
May 26th.
God, man. And what are we in now? June 14th?
Yeah.
What could have been, you know? Like, I'm trying to remember, like, what were the big issues, though? Was the players just wanted, like, because I remember they were going to lower the games, but lower the pay. And I think that's where the pushback was at first.
Yeah. Well, I think the players want 100% of the prorated salary. Like, hey, we want to get paid for all the games that should have happened already. And the owners are like, why would we pay you for games that didn't happen? I think that's where the discrepancy is. And the PA is like, hey, we want 100% of our prorate. And MLB keeps kind of getting a little closer and a little closer. But they're like, fine, we'll give you 70% of your prorate. And they're like, no, we want 100. Like, okay, we'll give you 80%. Like, we want 100. At one point, I think it was like the higher level, we're getting like 20% of their salary.
Your farm teams, those players are just kind of like, well, it was fun. You know, like, thought this was going to be my year, guys.
Well, and then the draft, I was watching the draft the other day. That's when I learned I don't know anything about college baseball because they're like, this is the top prospect. And I was like, never heard of him. So
didn't even know this was a college.
Yeah, it's like a 5-round draft instead of a 40-round draft. So there's 35 rounds of players who are like, cool, we don't play anywhere right now.
Yeah, that really sucks, man. I remember hearing, it was by The Onion, so it was a joke, but it was like, so many percentage of America doesn't realize they were drafted by an MLB team. Like, you get into those like numbers, like, oh, it's round 48, you know, and their name now. I think they're just making up names at this point because I'm like, there's no way this many people are playing baseball at this level at this point, you know, like.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why like Russell Wilson got drafted because they're like, who cares? Like, isn't that a wasted draft pick? Yes, but. It's round 37, so let's see what happens.
Like, then that's happened in the past, I believe. Like, Russell Wilson's, He's gone to training camps before, if I'm not
No, yeah,
mistaken.
he was legitimately drafted.
I'm thinking the
Remember in
Mariners.
blue? I don't think it was the Mariners. Part of me wants to say the Rangers. I guess, yeah, to be fair, we can't. Google is right here. But I know he got drafted, and yeah, he went to training camp. Tim Tebow went to training camp with the Mets. Or no, he plays for the Mets, right? Or in their farm system? Or at least did for a little bit.
Let's see. So I thought it was going to be an easy answer. It's not the easiest answer in the world. It looks like he was playing with Texas, but he got traded to the Yankees. Says he played parts of 2 seasons of minor league baseball late in his college career. Yeah, he did play college ball.
Well, Tracy McGrady played for the Skeeters for a season.
Yeah, but is that real baseball?
I mean, that's below single A, right? That's just kind of like playing for the club team.
Yeah, like it's so weird because when you get into that level of baseball, there's so many different leagues that are running around. Not saying they're not entertaining, because I've been to a few Skeeter games and they're fun as hell to go to, but like it's definitely a lot different than when you go to like the Round Rock Express or like even Corpus Christi Hooks.
Well, those are like professional or MLB players in waiting pretty much at that level, whereas the Skeeters are
Has-beens
like guys who used to play.
And basketball players.
Yeah. I've been watching a lot of basketball highlights now. Like Steph Curry was drafted, not great, but I don't know anything about basketball draft, so I'm not even. I'm just
That's for when your basketball non-expert comes on,
Yeah, I'm gonna just keep digging myself in the hole, and they're like, this guy doesn't know anything.
I don't even know why we,
which is true,
labeled this the baseball one, because all we've talked about is football for 80% of it. But you just come on. It's just talking with non-experts. That's all it is, man.
Yeah, it's like sports talk with a bit of a theme, and obviously, as we can see, the theme is irrelevant,
and the points don't matter. Like it's nothing, man.
There you go. It's whose line. Like a whose line is it anyway version of sports. Oh, and Tim Tebow was in the NFL for 3 seasons.
Hey, I was right. So let's talk about how the Astros aren't alone in the cheating scandal.
I am a big, and I get it. Everyone's doing it isn't a good excuse, but everyone is doing it. I mean, what's the big thing is the electronics, right? Like people are mad because there's electronics being used allegedly.
Yeah, but even looking at like what's happening now, especially with the Yankees, everyone's using electronics to some extent. Especially now that you're kind of seeing how this is all playing out. I mean, the Astros were, in my opinion, 100% a scapegoat. They were like, let's just knock down on them. They're the big shining star. And let's just hit them hard. Maybe people will just be happy with that. Forget about everything else. But now more stories are coming up of other teams doing this, and you can't hide it anymore. You can't act like it's not a problem in Major League Baseball anymore.
Well, I know that the 30 for 30 is coming out. I can't remember the name of it, but the Mike McGuire, Sammy Sosa one. And every time I see that, I'm like, you know what? Part of me is like, hey, cheat, use steroids, like just make it stupid. Where it's just like, do you remember there was a like on PlayStation, a baseball game where you, after a while, if you get enough hits in a row, your bat catches on fire. It's basically NFL Blitz, but the baseball version. Like, let's do that in real life. Pitcher's gonna feel bad because he lets someone hits a 600-foot home run.
Yeah, slugfest, MLB slugfest.
Yeah, let's just go back to that. Have you ever seen there's a John Boy Media? He does like YouTube videos and the comments. Yeah, I did. I watched his on the Astros, and watching it, I was like, damn. Okay.
You knew it was coming, though. Like, you can't act like he wasn't going to do that. He's a huge Yankees fan.
Yeah. Well, now I want to see his response to the Yankee allegations. He's also pretty fair, though.
Yeah, no, he's a real fair guy. Too. But I would love to see him come on and be like, everyone does it. Like, y'all are just blowing this out of proportion.
But now at this point, I've realized that I didn't have a lot to say about baseball, I guess.
You had all you wanted to talk about was it coming back? Yankees cheating.
Pretty much. Well, you remember in Baltimore when they had that game during the
Yeah, with no
Baltimore riots where
fans.
no fans. Yeah,
And you know
I
what?
watched it and it worked. I mean, the game happened, but it was like a nice and eerie. But hey, just follow Japan. Did you saw there's that Japanese soccer team that had the sex dolls as their fans?
Yeah, like, and I mean, like I said, we talked about the Korean League earlier. Like, they're using like stuffed Pokemon characters, and well, but my favorite part is not that they're putting them in the stands. They're still adhering to like the 6 foot COVID rule. So like, you don't see any of them like next to each other, which is the best part of this whole
That's
thing.
awesome.
What I love about it though too, when you play with no fans, you get to hear the players. You get to hear the game being played without like this ambient noise, and so the hits sound way better. The
Oh
catches
yeah.
sound, but you get to hear them like yelling at each other, calling stuff, which is so great. And like for young baseball players, getting to hear that on the big league level only solidifies what you're doing, playing little league ball, like talking to each other. It's a big thing that still gets used in the pros. Like, and when there's
Yeah.
no fans, you get to hear that happening. Yeah, well, look at what was it? The WWE. They did like their SmackDown with no one in the
I
stadium.
think that would be interesting. I didn't
Oh, it
watch it.
was
I'm gonna have to
great.
go back and see it.
They were even getting on the ropes and acting like the crowd was still there, like getting hyped and stuff. And I'm like, this is ridiculous on the best scale possible. This is what I'm paying to see. Like, just
Like the absurdity never stops.
exactly. And it was great, man. And like, you're like, the announcers are trying to get all hyped and crap, like an audience is still there. And it's just absurd, like you said. And I want that in baseball now.
Well, that was like the UFC. The comments like Daniel Cormier was saying, "Oh man, he needs to watch. He needs to check the leg kicks because he's commentating." So, hey, people at home, my piece of advice on this is he needs to check the leg kicks. And instantly, the guy who was getting kicked starts checking them because he can hear Daniel Cormier talking.
All right, man. Well, hey, I'm gonna head out, but I
Sounds
had a
good.
good time talking to you.
Thank you. We'll do it again.
Always. All right, dude. Talk to you later.
All right.